The dining room hummed with the gentle clinking of glasses and the murmurs of polite conversation. The laughter that punctuated the air was warm, genuine, and entirely oblivious to the tension that coiled around my chest like a vice. For the first time in our 15 years of hosting these monthly dinner parties, I found myself an outsider in my own home. "You'll never believe what Philip did for me last weekend," my wife Lauren said, her voice a siren call that drew all attention her way. She swirled the red wine in her glass with a nonchalant flair, her lips curling into a smile that bordered on gay. Philip, she'd mentioned him before, a work colleague. She'd said an invaluable connection, but never like this. "Oh, do tell Amanda," our overly curious neighbor chimed in, leaning forward with the eagerness of someone who lived vicariously through others. Lauren didn't hesitate. It surprised me with a weekend trip to Napa, a private villa, exclusive wine tastings, the works. She chuckled, a sound so foreign it almost made me wince. Honestly, I felt like royalty. The table erupted in admiring gasps and delighted exclamations. My pulse thundered in my ears, drowning out their words. I stared at Lauren, my wife of 17 years, the woman I'd built a life with, who was now shamelessly recounting her lover's grand gestures as if I were invisible. She had looked at me once. "That's incredible, Amanda. You're so lucky to have someone who knows how to treat you like that." Lucky? Yes, Lauren was lucky, but she hadn't mentioned the man who'd spent over a decade working late nights to provide for her whims, the man who bought her this house, thrown these parties, and supported her through every flight of fancy and career. Changed me. It took everything in me to keep my voice steady. "It sounds like Philippe has quite the flair for romance," I said, my words slipping into the space with an almost unnatural calm. For the first time all evening, Lauren's gaze flicked to mine. There was a flicker of something there, guilt maybe, or irritation. It vanished before I could name it, replaced by a defensive smile. "It certainly does," she replied, her tone cool, defiant. I'd seen enough. The rest of the evening passed in a blur of forced smiles and surface-level chatter. I played the role of the gracious host, ensuring glasses were never empty and plates were always full inside, though my mind churned, calculating. I wasn't just angry, I was hurt, humiliated, betrayed, but above all I was determined. By the time the last guest departed, the plan was fully formed. The following morning I acted as if nothing had changed. I kissed Lauren on the cheek, wished her a good day at work, and watched her drive away. Then I got to work. The first step was gathering evidence. Philip, as it turned, I wasn't exactly discreet. A quick search of Lauren's phone records revealed countless calls and messages. I forwarded the juiciest ones to myself, including the selfie she'd sent from their weekend escapade. Next I logged into our shared bank account and compiled every expense she charged to joint funds, meals, hotel stays, gifts. She'd been living her double life on our dime. Once I had everything I needed, I called my lawyer. Divorce wasn't the immediate goal, not yet. I wanted to ensure the fallout would be on my terms. The next dinner party was set for 2 weeks later. It gave me just enough time to set the stage. When the night arrived, the house sparkled with its usual charm. Candlelight danced across polished wood, and the air was perfumed with the rich aroma of cocoa van. Guests filed in, chattering about everything from politics to the latest Netflix series. Lauren was in her element, laughing and mingling, her betrayal buried beneath a facade of domes. "Liz, I waited until dessert before we dig into the tiramisu," I said, standing with a glass of champagne in hand. "I have a toast to make the table quiet at all." As on me, Lauren looked up, and of curiosity in her expression. 17 years ago, I began. I married the love of my life. Lauren, you've been my partner, my confidant, and my greatest source of joy. Tonight I want to celebrate you." A ripple of awe swept through the room. Lauren's smile widened, though there was a flicker of unease in her eyes. "But marriage, as we all know, is built on trust." I let the word hang in the air, its weight palpable, and trust once broken can never be the same. The room fell silent. Lauren's smile frowned, see her knuckles whitening around her glass. "Lauren," I continued, "I know about Philip." Gasps erupted like a firecracker. Lauren's face drained of color, her carefully curated composure crumbling. "For months you've been lying to me," I said, my voice firm but steady. "You've used our money, our home, our marriages as shield for your deception, and last week you had the audacity to brag about it at this very table." "David," she began, her voice trembling. I held up a hand, silencing her. "Save it." Turning to our stunned guests, I said, "I've compiled everything, the texts, the photos, the receipts. I'll be filing for divorce on Monday, but tonight isn't just about that." Northeast from beneath the table, I pulled out a effer and placed it on the table. Inside, you'll find copies of Lauren's indiscretions. I thought it only fair that her friends know the truth about the woman they've been defending, and admiring Lauren's face contorted with rage and humiliation. "How dare you?" she hissed, her voice low and venomous. "How dare I echoed my voice, rising. "How dare you made a mockery of our marriage. You disrespected me, our home, and everything we built together. Consider this your reckoning." I turned to the group who Saturday frowning in shock. "You'll forgive me if I don't see you out," I said, my tone laced with icy politeness. "I have some packing to do with that." I left the room, the sound of my footsteps echoing through the stunned silence. The fallout was immediate. Lauren's reputation was in shambles. Words spread quickly, fueled by the whispers of the very people she'd once called friends. Philip, it turned out, was married as well. His wife filed for divorce within days, citing my evidence as grounds for infidelity. As for me, I moved into a sleek apartment downtown. The divorce proceedings handled swiftly and efficiently by my lawyer. The settlement was fair, though heavily weighted in my favor thanks to the mountain of evidence it provided. For months I fielded apologies and awkward encounters from our former social circle, some sided with as free, ultimately proving herself unworthy of my love, and for the first time in years I felt whole.